Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Artificial Fluency. Before we start today's lesson, I want you to think about this. Have you ever had something important to say in English, but you stayed quiet instead? Maybe you knew the words, but you were too afraid to speak? Well, if you said yes, you're not alone. Today, I'm going to share real stories from English learners just like you and show you exactly how they went from being too scared to speak to feeling confident in English conversations. So let's get started. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Confidence in English is not a talent that some people have and others don't. It's not magic. Confidence is like a muscle. If you use it, it grows stronger. If you don't use it, it becomes weak. Here's the most important thing you need to understand. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you create. And you create it by speaking, practicing, and believing in yourself. Teaching note. Notice I said confidence is like a muscle. This is called a metaphor. We compare confidence to something physical to help you understand it better. Just like you exercise your arm muscles, you need to exercise your confidence. Today, I'm going to tell you real stories about English learners who transformed their fear into confidence. And I'll give you practical steps you can use starting today. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us. Let me share 3 stories about why people lose confidence in English, and maybe you'll recognize yourself in one of them. Story 1. Daniel and the fear of mistakes. Daniel was so afraid of making mistakes that he never spoke in his English class. He thought, if I make a mistake, everyone will think I'm stupid. But here's what Daniel learned. Mistakes are not your enemy. They are your teacher. Teaching note. Mistakes are not your enemy. This is a very important mindset. In English, we often say your enemy to mean something that fights against you, but mistakes actually help you learn. Story 2. Maria and negative thinking. Maria always told herself, I will never be good at English. Other people are so much better than me. This negative self-talk was killing her confidence. But then Maria learned a secret. Compare yourself with the person you were yesterday, not with other people. Story 3. Omar and lack of real practice. Omar studied grammar books for hours, but he never spoke with real people. He thought studying alone would make him confident. But confidence doesn't work like that. Confidence grows when you use English in real life. Teaching note. Confidence doesn't work like that. This is a natural way to say something is not correct or not effective. Native speakers use this phrase a lot in conversations. Can you identify with any of these stories? Don't worry. All 3 of these people became confident English speakers. Let me show you how. Here's the secret that changed everything for these learners. Start small and be patient with yourself. Let me tell you about Fatima. She joined an online English discussion group, but for the first month, she just listened. She didn't say a word. Then one day, she said just 1 sentence. The next week, she said 2 sentences. After 6 months, she was speaking for 5 minutes straight. This happened because she started small and she was patient with herself. That is the secret. Small steps every day. Teaching note. She was speaking for 5 minutes straight. The word straight here means continuously, without stopping. It's different from the opposite of curved. English has many words with multiple meanings. Or think about Tarek. He was nervous about speaking English with his manager at work, so he started with just one English sentence every morning. Good morning. How are you today? Just one sentence. Slowly, his courage grew, and now he has full conversations with his boss. And there's Amina. She was too shy to ask questions in shops, so she practiced one simple sentence. Excuse me, where can I find milk? She practiced this at home, then used it in the store. Then she practiced another question and another. Slowly, she became comfortable speaking to strangers. Teaching note. Notice the phrase, slowly his courage grew, and slowly she became comfortable. We use slowly plus past tense to show gradual improvement over time. This is a very natural way to describe progress. The key is this: don't try to be perfect immediately. Just try to be a little bit better than yesterday.
Now, let me give you 5 practical strategies that you can start using today. Strategy 1. Practice speaking aloud. This means reading out loud when you're alone. Read news articles, books, or even this video's transcript aloud. Anna told me, I feel like my mouth is learning English when I read aloud. Strategy 2. Mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror and speak to yourself. Practice eye contact and body language. Ball said, I felt less shy when I speak with people now because I already practiced with myself. Teaching note: practice eye contact means practicing looking at someone's eyes when you speak. This is very important in English-speaking cultures for showing confidence and respect. Strategy 3. Talk about your daily activities. While you're cooking, cleaning, or walking, describe what you're doing in English. For example, now I'm making coffee. I'm putting sugar in my cup. John told me, I feel more natural when I speak because I practice every day with small things. Strategy 4. Record your voice. Use your phone to record yourself speaking English. Listen to it later. This helps you hear your progress. Leela said, I saw proof that I was improving when I listened to my old and new recordings. Teaching note: I have tools for difficult moments. Here, tools doesn't mean physical tools like a hammer. It means useful phrases or strategies that help you in challenging situations. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep improving your English with us.
Now let's talk about changing your thinking, because your thoughts control your confidence. Sarah used to say, I cannot speak English well, but then she changed this to, I am learning to speak better English every day. Do you see the difference? The first sentence makes you feel hopeless. The second sentence makes you feel proud of your progress. Teaching note: notice the difference between I cannot, impossible, and I am learning, in progress. This small change in language can make a big difference in how you feel. Carlos learned another important lesson. He said, I don't need perfect English, I just need clear English. Remember, it's okay to speak slowly. People will still understand you. Ibrahim felt much calmer when he slowed down his speaking. And here's something that might surprise you. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to judge you. They're probably worried about their own English, their own problems, or what they're going to have for lunch. Here's what David learned about body language. Lift your head, look at the person's eyes, and speak louder. He said, when I looked confident, people respected me more. And guess what? When you act confident, you start to feel confident too. Teaching note: look at the person's eyes. We also say, make eye contact. Both mean the same thing. And speak louder doesn't mean shout, it just means use a strong, clear voice. Let me share some creative ways other learners found to practice English in real situations. Practice with family. Maria started reading English stories to her children. Clara read English articles aloud to her husband. Practicing in a safe space, like with family, can help you build courage. Join supportive groups. Daniel found a small English conversation group where everyone made mistakes together. Zob joined a local English club that gave her the space to practice without fear. Online groups work too. Fahd joined an online English community and found it very encouraging. Practice with children. Nadia practiced English with her son because, as she said, speaking with children is easier because they don't judge you. Children are usually happy to help and very patient. Role play at home. Hassan practiced airport questions with his wife before traveling. Ravi practiced customer service conversations with his colleague. Role play makes speaking English feel less scary because it's practice in a safe space. Teaching note: role play means acting out a situation for practice, like pretending you're at a restaurant, airport, or job interview. It's a very effective way to prepare for real situations. Keep a victory notebook. Elena wrote down every successful English conversation in a small notebook. She said, "My diary was full of achievements, and now I feel proud of myself." When you feel nervous, read your victories to remember how much you've improved. All right, let's create your action plan. Here's what I want you to do this week. Day 1 to 2, choose one simple sentence to practice daily. Maybe, "Good morning, how are you?" Start using it with one person. Day 3 to 4, read something aloud for 5 minutes. A news article, a story, anything in English. Focus on clear pronunciation. Day 5 to 6, record yourself speaking about your day for 2 minutes. Don't worry about mistakes, just speak. Day 7, find one person to practice with. A family member, a friend, or join an online group. Remember Daniel, Maria, Omar, Fatima, and all the others I told you about today. They started exactly where you are now. They felt scared, nervous, and unsure, but they took small steps every day, and now they speak English with confidence. Here's what I want you to remember. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you build. Every time you speak English, even if it's just one sentence, you're building that confidence muscle. Don't wait for perfect English. Start with clear English. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start today, start small, but start. Your homework is simple. Choose one strategy from today's lesson and use it this week. Then come back and tell me in the comments which strategy you tried and how it went. Thank you for watching. If this lesson helped you feel more confident about speaking English, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss our lessons. Remember, you don't need perfect English, you just need the courage to start, and you have that courage inside you right now. Until next time, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and keep improving your English with us. What if I told you that 6 months from today, you could be having comfortable conversations in English? Not perfect English, but real, flowing, natural English. Would you believe me? Most people think it takes years to become fluent. They're wrong. But here's the catch. It's not about studying harder. It's about living differently. For the next 6 months, English won't be something you study. It will be something you live. Welcome to Artificial Fluency. I'm your teacher, and today I'm giving you the exact daily routine that has helped thousands of learners transform their English in just 6 months. No magic, no expensive courses. Just a simple system you start today. Ready to change your life? First, let's be honest about what fluent in 6 months really means. I'm not promising you'll sound like a native speaker. I'm not saying you'll know every word in the dictionary. Here's what I am promising. In 6 months, you can go from translating everything in your head to thinking directly in English. You can go from being afraid to speak to speaking naturally. You can go from understanding 30% of a movie to understanding 70 to 80%. Why 6 months? It's long enough for real change, but short enough to stay motivated. It's about 180 days. That's 180 chances to get better, 180 small steps that add up to one giant leap. The key word is immersion. This doesn't mean moving to an English-speaking country. Immersion means surrounding yourself with English wherever you are. It means English becomes like the air you breathe. It's always there, always around you. Let me teach you an important phrase. Live in the language. Not study the language, not learn the language. Live in it. When you live in English, it stops being a subject and becomes a tool. It stops being foreign and becomes familiar. Common mistake. People think they need perfect conditions to start. I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I find a conversation partner. I'll start when I'm ready. No, you start now with what you have, where you are. Your transformation begins the moment you open your eyes. Before you check your phone in your native language, before you think about your day in your native language, you need English in your ears. Here's your morning routine. Option 1, the podcast Wake Up. Set your alarm to play an English podcast instead of a beeping sound. Your brain is most receptive when you first wake up. Even if you're half asleep, English is entering your mind. Option 2, the video breakfast. While making breakfast, play a YouTube video in English. Not news, too stressful. Try morning routine videos, cooking channels, or motivational speeches. The topic doesn't matter as much as the exposure. Option 3, the music method. Play English songs while getting ready. But here's the twist. Sing along. Even if you mumble, even if you get words wrong, your mouth needs to practice English movements. Let me teach you morning phrases to practice. Good morning to me. What's my plan for today? I'm going to have a great day. First, I need to... Let's get started. Say these out loud while looking in the mirror. Yes, you'll feel silly at first. Do it anyway. Is this making sense? If you're ready to transform your English, hit that like button and subscribe right now. Comment below, what time do you usually wake up? Let's support each other in starting our days with English. Important tip: don't try to understand everything you hear in the morning. The goal is exposure, not comprehension. Your brain is like a sponge. It absorbs even when you don't realize it. Now for the part that changes everything: speaking every single day. But I have no one to talk to. I hear this constantly. You know who's always available? You. Talking to yourself in English isn't crazy. It's clever. Here's how. Technique 1. Narrate your life. Describe what you're doing as you do it. I'm walking to the kitchen. I'm opening the refrigerator. I'm choosing what to eat. I'm feeling hungry. Simple? Yes. Powerful? Absolutely. You're connecting English words to real actions and feelings. Technique 2. The shadowing method. This is gold. Find a short English video, 2 to 3 minutes, watch it once, then play it again and speak along with the speaker. Try to copy their rhythm, their intonation, their pauses, their emphasis. You're training your mouth to move like an English speaker's mouth. It's like dance practice for your tongue. Let me demonstrate. I'll say a sentence slowly, then naturally. Slow. I would like to improve my English. Natural. I'd like to improve my English. Notice how words connect and flow? That's what shadowing teaches you. Technique 3. The opinion practice. After reading or watching something, express your opinion out loud. I think that's interesting because I agree with that point. I'm not sure about that. In my opinion, common mistake. Waiting to speak until you know advanced grammar. Wrong. Speak with the grammar you have. Yesterday I go to store is wrong, but it's communication. You can fix grammar later. First, build the speaking habit. Here's your daily speaking minimum. Morning, 5 minutes narrating your routine. Afternoon, 5 minutes shadowing practice. Evening, 5 minutes expressing opinions. That's just 15 minutes, but after 6 months, that's 45 hours of speaking practice. This is the breakthrough point, thinking in English. When you think in English, everything becomes faster, smoother, more natural. Right now, you probably think in your language, translate to English, speak English. We want to skip step 2. Here's how. Start small, single words. When you see objects, think their English names. See a door? Think door. See a car? Think car. Feel tired? Think tired. Don't translate, just attach the English word directly to the thing or feeling. Build to phrases. After a few weeks, expand to simple phrases. That's a red car. I'm really tired. The door is open. Create internal monologues. This is where magic happens. Have conversations with yourself in your head. What should I eat for lunch? Maybe a sandwich. No, I had that yesterday. How about pasta? Yes, pasta sounds good. Simple thoughts, but in English. This is powerful stuff. If you're learning something valuable, please subscribe and share this video with someone learning English. Comment below, what language do you think in right now? Let's work on changing that together. Here's a practical exercise, the 5-minute English brain. Every night before bed, set a timer for 5 minutes. During these 5 minutes, force yourself to think only in English. Plan tomorrow, review today, or just daydream, but only in English. First week, you'll struggle and switch back to your language. Second week, you'll manage 2 to 3 minutes. Month 2, full 5 minutes becomes possible. Month 3, you'll think in English without trying. The progression is slow, but real. Trust the process. Now let's transform your environment into an English bubble. Your phone. Change your phone language to English. Yes, right now. You use your phone 50+ times a day. That's 50 plus English interactions. Your entertainment. Netflix. English shows with English subtitles, not your language. YouTube. Subscribe to English channels you actually enjoy. Music. Create an English-only playlist. Podcasts. Download 3 to 5 English podcasts. Your notes. Shopping lists, reminders, diary entries, write them in English. Even if it's just buy milk or meeting at 3. Your social media. Follow English accounts. Comment in English. Join English learning groups. Make English-speaking online friends. Here's the important part. Choose content you actually care about. Love cooking? Watch English cooking shows. Into fitness? English workout videos. Interested in science? English documentaries. When English connects to your interests, it stops feeling like study and starts feeling like life. Let me teach you the background English technique. While doing chores, exercising, or commuting, always have English playing. You're not actively listening, it's just there. Your brain processes it subconsciously. It's like living in an English-speaking country without leaving home. My student Carlos did this. He played English podcasts while washing dishes, 15 minutes, commuting, 40 minutes, exercising, 30 minutes, and cooking dinner, 20 minutes. That's 1 hour, 45 minutes of daily English exposure without extra study time. Here's what nobody talks about: your inner voice. The voice that says, your English is terrible, or you'll never be fluent. That voice is your biggest enemy. We need to reprogram it. Instead of negative thoughts, practice these. Replace negative with positive. Not, I can't understand, to, I'm learning to understand. Not, my accent is bad, to, my accent is unique. Not, I made a mistake, to, I learned something new. Not, English is hard, to, English is becoming easier. Write these on sticky notes. Put them everywhere. Your bathroom mirror, your computer, your refrigerator. Read them out loud every day. Here's a powerful truth. Your brain believes what you tell it repeatedly. If you say, I'm bad at English 100 times, your brain believes it. But if you say, I'm improving my English 100 times, your brain believes that too. Let me teach you the progress, not perfection principle. You don't need perfect English. You need functional English. You need confident English. You need daily English. Think about it. A person who speaks imperfect English every day will become fluent. A person who waits for perfect English will never speak at all. Celebrate small wins. Understood a joke in English? Victory. Thought in English for 30 seconds? Amazing. Spoke English in a dream? You're transforming. These aren't small things. They're signs that English is becoming part of you. Here's your daily schedule for transformation. Morning. Wake up to English podcast or music. Narrate morning routine out loud. Listen to English while getting ready. Afternoon. Shadowing practice with video. Think in English. Quick English reading. Evening. Express opinions about your day. Watch English content you enjoy. Before bed, 5-minute English thinking exercise. Listen to calm English podcast or story. Total? Just 60 minutes spread throughout your day. Not 60 minutes of studying, 60 minutes of living in English. Track your progress. Week 1, everything feels difficult. Month 1, some things feel easier. Month 2, you catch yourself thinking in English. Month 3, conversations become possible. Month 4, confidence grows noticeably. Month 5, English feels natural in many situations. Month 6, you realize you've transformed. 6 months from now, you'll be a different person. Not because you memorized more words or studied more grammar, but because you lived in English every single day. You'll wake up and automatically think in English. You'll watch movies without constantly checking subtitles. You'll join conversations without translating in your head. You'll be free in English. But this only happens if you start today. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not next month. Today. Your first action? Right after this video, speak out loud in English for just 1 minute. Describe what you're going to do next. That's it, 1 minute. That's how transformation begins. Remember, immersion isn't about perfection. It's about presence. English needs to be present in your life every single day. Like breathing, like eating, like sleeping. It becomes part of your rhythm. You have 180 days ahead of you, 180 opportunities to grow, 180 chances to become who you want to be. The question isn't, can I become fluent in 6 months? The question is, will I commit to living in English for 6 months? If your answer is yes, then welcome to your transformation. Your new life in English starts right now. Thank you for these 20 minutes, but don't stop here. Keep English going. Describe what you learned. Express your thoughts. Start living in English immediately. This is Artificial Fluency reminding you that fluency isn't a destination you reach, it's a life you live. Your 6 months start now. Let's do this together. Let me ask you something. This morning, when your alarm went off, did you hit the snooze button? Be honest. And when you promised yourself you'd study English for 30 minutes yesterday, did you actually do it? Or did you end up scrolling through your phone instead? Don't worry, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to teach you something powerful. Discipline doesn't mean being super strict with yourself, like a military sergeant shouting, "Drop and give me 20 push-ups." That's not what we're talking about today. Real discipline is much simpler. It means doing what you said you would do even when you don't feel like it. Let me give you examples. You said you'd study English today. You're tired, but you do it anyway. That's discipline. You promised yourself to drink more water. You remember and drink a glass. That's discipline. You decided to make your bed every morning. Today, you do it. That's discipline. See? Nothing extreme, just keeping promises to yourself. Here's an important phrase. Discipline is a muscle. Just like your arm muscles get stronger when you exercise, your discipline gets stronger when you practice it. Start small, build slowly. Let me teach you how we talk about discipline and English. Common phrases. I need more discipline. I need to control myself better. She's very disciplined. She has good self-control. It takes discipline to, you need self-control to, I'm working on my discipline. I'm trying to improve my self-control. Grammar note, discipline can be a noun, I have discipline, or a verb, I discipline myself. But be careful. To discipline someone often means to punish them. We're talking about self-discipline, controlling yourself. Here's where most people fail. They try to change everything at once. Starting tomorrow, I'll wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for an hour, eat perfectly, and study English for 2 hours. What happens? They last maybe 2 days, then give up completely. Sound familiar? Let me teach you a better way. the 1% rule. Just get 1% better each day. That's it. What does 1% look like? Instead of 0 minutes of English, do 5 minutes. Instead of 0 glasses of water, drink 1 glass. Instead of 0 push-ups, do 1 push-up. Instead of going to bed at midnight, go at 11:55. These seem tiny, right? But here's the magic. 1% better every day means you're 37 times better after 1 year. That's mathematics, not motivation. Are you already seeing how this applies to learning English? If this is clicking for you, please hit that like button and subscribe. Comment below, what's one small habit you want to start? Let's support each other. Let's learn vocabulary about habits. Consistency, doing something regularly, again and again. Example, consistency is more important than intensity. This means doing a little bit every day is better than doing a lot once a week. Intensity, doing something with lots of force or energy. Example, high intensity isn't sustainable. This means you can't maintain extreme effort for long. Common mistake, people say I'm in a habit of. Wrong. Say I'm in the habit of, or I have a habit of. Correct. I'm in the habit of checking my phone first thing. Correct. I have a habit of drinking coffee every morning. Now let's understand how habits work. This will help you build good habits and break bad ones. It's called the habit loop, and it has 3 parts. Cue, the trigger that starts the habit. Routine, the action you take. Reward, the good feeling you get. Example, cue, you feel stressed. Routine, you eat chocolate. Reward, you feel better temporarily. To change a habit, keep the cue and the reward, but change the routine. Cue, you feel stressed. New routine, you take 5 deep breaths. Reward, you feel calmer. Let's learn how to talk about habits in English. Building habits. I'm trying to build a habit of attempting to create. I'm developing the habit of in process of creating. I've gotten into the habit of successfully created. Breaking habits. I'm trying to break the habit of attempting to stop. I'm cutting down on, reducing gradually. I've quit, stopped completely. Here's a practical example for English learning. Cue, morning coffee is ready. Routine, listen to 5 minutes of English podcast. Reward, feel productive and learn something new. The key phrase here is habit stacking, connecting a new habit to an existing one. You already make coffee every morning, so stack English practice on top of it. Grammar tip. When talking about habits, we use present simple. I always make my bed, not I am always making. She exercises every morning, not she is exercising every morning. Let me teach you 2 important words that will change how you think. Proactive. acting before problems happen. Reactive, only acting after problems happen. Proactive people plan ahead. Reactive people always play catch up. Examples: proactive, I'll pack my lunch tonight so I eat healthy tomorrow. Reactive, I'm starving and have no food, so I'll order pizza. Proactive, I'll study English 15 minutes every morning. Reactive, the test is tomorrow. I need to study all night. See the difference? Proactive is calm and controlled. Reactive is stressed and chaotic. Here's how to use these words. I need to be more proactive about means plan better for. I'm always reactive instead of proactive means always responding to emergencies. Let's take a proactive approach means let's plan ahead. This vocabulary is super useful for work and life. If you're learning something valuable, please subscribe and share this with a friend learning English. What area of your life needs more proactive planning? Tell me in the comments. Now, let's talk about vision, seeing your future clearly. Vision means a clear picture of what you want. Example: my vision is to speak English fluently in meetings. When you have clear vision, discipline becomes easier. Why? Because every small action has meaning. Without vision, I have to study English again. With vision, this 15 minutes gets me closer to my dream job. Useful phrases about vision. I can see myself means I can imagine myself. My goal is to means I want to achieve. I'm working towards means I'm trying to reach. The big picture is means the overall goal is. Here's something nobody talks about. Self-control is like a battery. It starts full in the morning and drains throughout the day. That's why you eat healthy breakfast but order pizza for dinner. That's why you study English in the morning but watch TV at night. Your self-control battery is empty. Let's learn vocabulary about self-control. Temptation, something you want but shouldn't have. Example: the chocolate cake is such a temptation. Willpower, the strength to control yourself. Example: I don't have the willpower to refuse cookies. Self-control, the ability to control your actions. Example: it takes self-control to save money. Resilience, the ability to recover from difficulties. Example: learning a language requires resilience. Here's a practical tip. Remove temptations instead of resisting them. Don't buy junk food. Can't eat what you don't have. Put your phone in another room. Can't scroll if it's not there. Block distracting websites. Can't visit if they're blocked. This is called environmental design, setting up your space for success. Common English expressions about self-control. I gave in to temptation. I couldn't resist. I'm trying to resist, attempting not to do it. I have no self-control around chocolate. I can't stop myself. My willpower is weak today. I can't control myself well. Important phrase: choose your hard. Exercising is hard. Being unhealthy is hard. Choose your hard. Studying English is hard. Not speaking English is hard. Choose your hard. Discipline isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things. This means learning to say no. Let me teach you a phrase. Spread yourself too thin. This means trying to do too many things at once and doing none of them well. Example, I'm learning English, Spanish, and French while working 2 jobs and taking cooking classes. I'm spreading myself too thin. Better approach? Focus on 1 or 2 important things. How to say no politely in English. I appreciate the offer, but I can't commit right now. That sounds interesting, but I need to focus on other priorities. I wish I could, but I'm at capacity. Let me check my schedule and get back to you. This gives you time to think. Key vocabulary. Priority. Something that's most important. Learning English is my top priority. Focus. Giving all attention to one thing. I need to focus on my studies. Distraction. Something that takes your attention away. Social media is my biggest distraction. Here's a powerful framework. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. Yes to scrolling social media, no to reading in English. Yes to staying up late, no to waking up fresh. Yes to that extra meeting, no to focused work time. Grammar note. Focus pronunciation. It's focus, noun, and focus, verb, though many people use the same pronunciation for both. Here's the beautiful truth about discipline. It's not punishment, it's love. Every small, disciplined action today is a gift to tomorrow's you. When you study English for 15 minutes today, tomorrow's you is slightly better at English. When you go to bed on time tonight, tomorrow's you wakes up refreshed. When you exercise today, next month's you is healthier. This is self-love in action. You're taking care of your future self. Let me teach you about humility versus ego. Humility, accepting you can always learn and improve. Example, I have the humility to ask for help when I'm stuck. Ego, excessive pride that stops you from learning. Example, my ego stopped me from admitting I was wrong. Humble people grow faster because they're always learning. They ask questions, admit mistakes, and keep improving. Key phrases about personal growth. I'm a work in progress. I'm still improving. Every day is a chance to improve. Daily opportunity. Progress, not perfection. Improvement matters more than being perfect. I'm better than I was yesterday. Personal progress. Remember, discipline isn't about never failing. It's about always returning. You'll miss a day of English study. You'll eat that cake you said you wouldn't. You'll hit snooze when you promise to wake up early. That's okay. The disciplined person isn't the one who never falls. It's the one who always gets back up. Your English journey is the perfect place to practice discipline. Small, daily actions, even 5 minutes counts. Clear vision, why you're learning. Environmental design, English music, podcasts, books around you. Self-compassion when you miss a day. Always returning to practice. Final thought, you already have discipline. You brushed your teeth today, right? You're watching this video to learn. That's discipline. Now we just need to expand it to other areas. Your homework is choose one small habit to start tomorrow. Just one. Maybe it's listen to English for 5 minutes with morning coffee. Write one English sentence before bed. Learn one new word at lunch. That's it. One small promise to yourself. Keep it for 1 week, then build from there. Thank you for spending these 20 minutes with me. You've already shown discipline by listening to this entire lesson. That's proof you can do this. If this helped you, please share it with someone else learning English or trying to build better habits. Subscribe for more lessons that teach English while improving your life. Remember, discipline is a muscle. Every small action makes it stronger, and strong discipline creates a strong life. This is Artificial Fluency, reminding you that learning English isn't just about language. It's about becoming the person you want to be. One word, one habit, one day. Now go keep one small promise to yourself. Your future self will thank you.
Welcome to Artificial Fluency Podcast. I'm Emma Thompson, and I'm thrilled to guide you through today's advanced listening practice session, designed specifically for B1 and B2 learners who are ready to take their English comprehension to the next level. Today's episode is titled Master Advanced English Conversations Effortlessly, and that's exactly what we're going to achieve together. If you're at the B1 or B2 level, you've already built a solid foundation in English, but you might find yourself struggling with more sophisticated conversations, discussions that involve abstract concepts, cultural nuances, implied meanings, and complex grammatical structures. What sets today's episode apart is that we're moving beyond basic communication into the realm of truly fluent English comprehension. You'll hear conversations at natural native speaker pace, complete with interruptions, cultural references, idiomatic expressions, and the kind of sophisticated vocabulary that separates intermediate learners from advanced speakers. Over the next hour, we'll explore 5 challenging yet fascinating areas of advanced English listening. First, we'll dive into academic and intellectual discussions, where speakers debate complex topics using sophisticated vocabulary and argumentation. Then we'll tackle professional presentations and business strategy meetings with technical terminology and formal language structures. Next, we'll explore cultural conversations about art, literature, and social issues that require understanding of context and subtext. After that, we'll practice with emotional and personal discussions that involve several psychological insights and relationship dynamics. Finally, we'll work on understanding news analysis and current events discussions with their rapid pace and specialized vocabulary. Each segment is designed to challenge different aspects of your listening comprehension. You'll need to follow complex arguments, understand implied meanings, pick up on emotional subtleties, and process information at the speed of educated native speakers. But don't worry, I'll guide you through each conversation with strategic insights and vocabulary explanations. My goal today is to help you develop what I call effortless comprehension, the ability to understand sophisticated English conversations without conscious effort, just as you do in your native language. This requires training your brain to process English at a deeper, more intuitive level. Are you ready to transform your listening skills and join the ranks of truly advanced English speakers? Let's embark on this exciting journey together. Let's begin with academic and intellectual discussions, the kind of sophisticated conversations you'd hear in university seminars, think tanks, or among educated professionals discussing complex topics. These conversations require you to follow abstract reasoning, understand specialized vocabulary, and track multi-layered arguments. Listen to this discussion between 2 professors debating the impact of artificial intelligence on human creativity. pay attention to how they build their arguments, use evidence, and engage with each other's points. I've been reflecting on your recent paper about AI's impact on creative industries, and while I found your economic analysis compelling, I'm not entirely convinced by your central thesis that artificial intelligence fundamentally threatens human creativity. That's interesting, Margaret. Could you elaborate on your concerns? I thought I presented fairly robust evidence showing how AI-generated content is already displacing human creators in multiple sectors: graphic design, music composition, even journalistic writing. Oh, I don't dispute the displacement phenomenon you've documented. That's clearly occurring. My skepticism centers more on the philosophical implications of your argument. You seem to conflate commercial creative work with creativity itself as if they were synonymous. That's a fair critique, actually. But surely you'd agree that when AI systems can produce work that's indistinguishable from human-created content, and do so at exponentially faster rates, this poses profound questions about the nature and value of human creative expression. Absolutely, it raises profound questions, but I'd argue it's precisely these questions that might actually enhance human creativity rather than diminish it. Throughout history, technological disruptions have forced artists to explore new territories, to discover what makes human expression uniquely valuable. You're thinking of photography's impact on painting, I assume, the way Impressionism emerged partly as a response to the camera's ability to capture realistic images. Exactly, and jazz emerging from the intersection of recorded music and live performance, or how digital tools didn't eliminate traditional craftsmanship, but created entirely new art forms. I suspect we're witnessing the beginning of a similar renaissance. That's a fascinating perspective, though I wonder if you're being overly optimistic. The scale and speed of AI advancement seems qualitatively different from previous technological shifts. We're not just talking about new tools, we're discussing systems that can mimic the entire creative process. But that's precisely my point. If AI can replicate what we currently consider creativity, then perhaps we need to expand our definition of what human creativity actually encompasses. Maybe we've been thinking too narrowly about creative expression all along. This academic discussion demonstrates several key characteristics of sophisticated intellectual discourse. Complex argumentation structure. Notice how each speaker built upon the other's points, acknowledged valid criticisms, and refined their positions based on the dialogue. Sophisticated vocabulary. Terms like compelling, robust evidence, conflate, synonymous, exponentially, and qualitatively different represent the kind of advanced vocabulary used in academic settings. Abstract concept manipulation. The speakers weren't just discussing facts, but exploring philosophical implications, comparing historical parallels, and engaging with theoretical frameworks. Nuanced disagreement. Rather than simple opposition, the professors showed how educated people disagree, acknowledging valid points while maintaining different perspectives. Key academic vocabulary from this discussion. Central thesis. The main argument or position in an academic work. Robust evidence. Strong, reliable proof or data supporting a claim. Displacement phenomenon. The process by which one thing replaces another. Conflate. To combine or treat as the same when they should be considered separately. Synonymous. Having the same meaning or being equivalent. Exponentially. At an increasingly rapid rate. Profound questions. Deep, significant inquiries that challenge fundamental assumptions. Technological disruptions. innovations that significantly change existing systems or industries. Qualitatively different. Different in essential character or nature, not just in degree. Renaissance. A period of renewed interest, growth, or development. Let's check your comprehension of this complex discussion. Question 1. What is Professor Williams' main disagreement with Professor Chen's thesis? She questions whether AI threatening commercial creative work necessarily threatens creativity itself, arguing that Chen conflates commercial work with creativity as a whole. Question 2. What historical example does Professor Williams use to support her argument? She mentions how photography's impact on painting led to Impressionism, and how jazz emerged from the intersection of recorded music and live performance. Question 3. How does Professor Chen counter Williams' optimistic view? He argues that the scale and speed of AI advancement is qualitatively different from previous technological shifts, involving systems that can mimic the entire creative process. Now, let's practice with an even more challenging academic discussion, a debate about urban planning and social psychology. Notice the interdisciplinary nature and rapid exchange of complex ideas. Dr. Rodriguez. The correlation between urban design and mental health outcomes is becoming increasingly undeniable, yet our city planning policies continue to prioritize economic efficiency over psychological well-being. It's a classic case of institutional inertia overriding empirical evidence. Dr. Patel. I appreciate your passion, Carlos, but I think you're oversimplifying the trade-offs involved. Municipal governments operate under severe budgetary constraints, and while the psychological benefits of green spaces and walkable neighborhoods are well documented, the implementation costs are substantial. Dr. Rodriguez. But that's exactly the short-sighted thinking I'm challenging. Yes, the upfront investment is significant, but numerous longitudinal studies demonstrate that communities with better urban design experience lower healthcare costs, reduced crime rates, and higher property values over time. Dr. Patel. Fair enough, though I'd argue the causation isn't as straightforward as you suggest. Wealthier communities tend to have both better urban planning and better health outcomes, but that correlation might reflect socio-economic factors rather than design impacts per se. Dr. Rodriguez. You're absolutely right to flag that confounding variable issue. However, recent experimental interventions in economically disadvantaged neighborhoods, the High Line effect in New York, for instance, suggest that thoughtful urban design can indeed catalyze positive social change regardless of initial economic conditions. Dr. Patel. The High Line is an interesting case study, though critics would argue it's also contributed to gentrification and displacement of long-term residents. It exemplifies the complexity of urban interventions. They often produce unintended consequences alongside their intended benefits. Dr. Rodriguez. Absolutely valid criticism. It underscores the necessity of community engagement and equitable development practices. But surely the solution isn't to abandon urban design improvements altogether. It's to implement them more thoughtfully and inclusively. This discussion showcased even more advanced academic discourse features. Interdisciplinary thinking. The speakers connected urban planning, psychology, economics, and social policy in sophisticated ways. Statistical and research literacy. References to longitudinal studies, causation versus correlation, and confounding variables demonstrate academic research understanding. Nuanced policy analysis. Rather than simple pro-con positions, the speakers acknowledged multiple perspectives and unintended consequences. Advanced academic vocabulary. Institutional inertia. Organizations' tendency to resist change. Empirical evidence. Information based on observation and experimentation. Municipal governments. City-level political authorities. Longitudinal studies. Research that follows subjects over extended time periods. Per se, by itself, in and of itself. Confounding variable, a factor that might affect research results. Catalyze, to trigger or accelerate a process. Gentrification, the process of changing neighborhoods becoming more expensive. Unintended consequences, results that weren't planned or anticipated. Equitable development, fair and just community improvement practices. These academic discussions require you to process abstract concepts, follow complex reasoning, and understand specialized vocabulary, all hallmarks of advanced English comprehension. Now let's move into the corporate world with professional presentations and business strategy discussions. These conversations combine formal presentation skills with dynamic strategic thinking, requiring you to follow data analysis, understand business terminology, and track complex decision-making processes. Listen to this quarterly business review presentation where executives are analyzing market performance and planning future strategy. Pay attention to how they present data, discuss challenges, and debate strategic options. Emma as CEO. Thank you all for joining our Q3 review. Before we dive into forward-looking strategy, let's examine our performance metrics. Sarah, could you walk us through the key indicators? Certainly, Michael. Our revenue growth rate has decelerated from 18% year-over-year in Q2 to 12% in Q3. While this represents a slowdown, we're still outperforming industry benchmarks by approximately 300 basis points. That deceleration is concerning, particularly given our aggressive expansion investments this quarter. Our customer acquisition costs have increased by 23%, while customer lifetime value has remained relatively flat. The CAC increase is partly attributable to our premium market positioning strategy. We're deliberately targeting higher-value customers, which requires more sophisticated marketing approaches and longer sales cycles. Understood, Jennifer, but we need to scrutinize whether this premium positioning is actually translating into sustainable competitive advantages. Are we seeing improved customer retention and higher average revenue per user? The data is mixed, frankly. Customer retention has improved marginally, up 2.3 percentage points. But ARPU growth has been disappointing, only 4% quarter over quarter, despite our premium pricing strategy. I'd like to propose that we're looking at this through too narrow a lens. Our operational efficiency metrics tell a more compelling story. We've reduced fulfillment costs by 15% while maintaining service quality, which should improve our margins significantly. David raises a valid point. Our gross margins have indeed expanded from 34% to 38% this quarter. The question becomes whether operational improvements can offset the marketing investment concerns we've discussed. Let's explore that further.
What's our projected break-even timeline for the current marketing spend levels, assuming operational efficiency continues improving at the current trajectory? Based on our models, we're looking at break-even by Q2 next year, with positive ROI kicking in during Q3. However, this assumes several variables remain constant: market conditions, competitive dynamics, and continued operational optimization. I'd also add that our brand recognition metrics have improved substantially. While the financial impact isn't immediately visible, we're building long-term market position that should pay dividends in subsequent quarters. This business presentation demonstrates the sophisticated language of corporate strategy, quantitative analysis, the extensive use of percentages, metrics, and financial ratios shows how business discussions integrate numerical data. Strategic thinking. Participants didn't just report numbers, but analyzed their implications for future decision-making. Multi-perspective analysis. Each executive contributed their departmental expertise while considering company-wide implications.
Professional business vocabulary. Performance metrics. Measurable indicators of business success. Decelerated. Slowed down in terms of growth rate. Year over year. Compared to the same period in the previous year. Industry benchmarks. Standard performance measures for comparison within a sector. Basis points. 1/100th of a percentage point used in finance. Customer acquisition costs. CAC. Money spent to gain each new customer. Customer lifetime value. Total revenue expected from a customer relationship. Premium market positioning. Strategy of targeting high-end customers. Sustainable competitive advantages. Long-term benefits over competitors. Average revenue per user. ARPU. Revenue divided by number of customers. Fulfillment costs. Expenses related to completing customer orders. Gross margins. Revenue minus cost of goods sold, expressed as percentage. Break-even timeline, when revenue will equal expenses. Return on investment, ROI. Profit relative to investment cost. Let's check your comprehension of this business discussion. Question 1. How did the revenue growth rate change from Q2 to Q3? It decelerated from 18% to 12% year over year, though still outperforming industry benchmarks by 300 basis points. Question 2. What was the concern about customer acquisition costs? CAC increased by 23% while customer lifetime value remained flat, raising questions about marketing efficiency. Question 3. What positive operational change did the VP of Operations highlight? They reduced fulfillment costs by 15% while maintaining service quality, expanding gross margins from 34% to 38%. Now, let's listen to a more complex strategic planning discussion involving market expansion and risk assessment. Strategic Planning Director. Our market penetration analysis reveals significant untapped potential in the Southeast Asian markets, particularly Vietnam and Thailand. However, regulatory complexities and cultural adaptation requirements present substantial implementation challenges. Regional Manager. I've spent considerable time in those markets, and while the opportunity is genuine, we shouldn't underestimate the localization investments required. Consumer behavior patterns differ markedly from our current markets, and our value proposition may need fundamental restructuring. Risk management. From a risk perspective, we're looking at currency volatility, political instability factors, and nascent regulatory frameworks. Our stress testing suggests potential scenario outcomes ranging from 15% IRR in optimistic cases to negative returns under adverse conditions. CEO: those are sobering projections, Amanda. How do these risk-adjusted returns compare to domestic market expansion alternatives? Strategic Planning Director: domestic expansion offers more predictable returns. We're modeling 8 to 12% IRR with significantly lower volatility. However, the total addressable market is considerably smaller, limiting our long-term growth trajectory. Regional Manager: there's also the strategic consideration of competitive preemption. If we delay Southeast Asian entry, we risk ceding first-mover advantages to competitors who are already establishing market presence. Risk Management: true, but first-mover advantages can become first-mover disadvantages if market conditions aren't optimal. The telecommunications sector provides numerous examples of companies that expanded too aggressively into emerging markets. CEO: what if we pursued a phased approach, perhaps a pilot program in one market to validate our assumptions before committing to broader regional expansion? This strategic discussion showcased advanced business planning concepts, market analysis sophistication, discussion of penetration rates, addressable markets, and competitive dynamics, risk assessment complexity, multiple risk factors, scenario modeling, and quantitative projections. Strategic alternatives evaluation, comparing different expansion options with various trade-offs.
Advanced strategic vocabulary. Market penetration analysis. Study of how much of a market a company has captured. Regulatory complexities. Complicated government rules and requirements. Localization investments. Money spent adapting products for local markets. Value proposition. The benefit a company offers to customers. Currency volatility. Fluctuations in exchange rates. Nascent regulatory frameworks. New, still developing government rules. Stress testing. Analysis of performance under difficult conditions. Internal rate of return, IRR, a measure of investment profitability. Risk-adjusted returns, profits considering the probability of losses. Total addressable market, the maximum possible demand for a product. Competitive preemption, acting before competitors to gain advantages. First mover advantages, benefits of being first to enter a market. Phased approach, gradual implementation in stages. These business discussions require understanding complex financial concepts, strategic thinking, and sophisticated analytical vocabulary, essential skills for professional English comprehension. Now let's explore cultural conversations and social commentary, discussions about art, literature, social issues, and cultural phenomena that require understanding context, subtext, and cultural references. These conversations often involve personal opinions, cultural criticism, and sophisticated analysis of human behavior and society. Listen to this discussion between friends about a controversial art exhibition. Pay attention to how they express opinions, reference cultural knowledge, and navigate disagreement about sensitive topics. Emma as art critic, Alex. Intellectually engaged, slightly provocative. I have to say, the retrospective at the Modern Art Museum has been absolutely fascinating, though I understand why it's generating such polarized reactions. The curator's decision to juxtapose classical works with contemporary installations raises profound questions about artistic canonization and cultural authority. Emma as friend, Jordan. Thoughtful, slightly skeptical. I visited last weekend, and while I appreciate the curatorial ambition, I found some of the contemporary pieces felt forced, as if they were included primarily to make a political statement rather than because they genuinely belonged in dialogue with the classical works. Emma as art critic, Alex, intellectually engaged. That's interesting criticism, Jordan, but couldn't one argue that art has always been inherently political? Even the so-called classical works we revere were products of their particular social and political contexts. We've just forgotten those contexts over time. Emma as friend, Jordan, thoughtful. Fair point, though I think there's a distinction between art that emerges organically from political circumstances and art that's deliberately constructed to advance specific ideological positions. The former feels authentic, the latter can seem manipulative. Emma as art history, Sam. Joining conversation, academic perspective. Sorry to interrupt, but I couldn't help overhearing your discussion. As someone who studies art history professionally, I find these debates about authenticity versus political intent somewhat artificial. Most great art throughout history has been commissioned or created with explicit political purposes. Emma as art critic, Alex. Exactly, Sam. Think about Guernica or Goya's Disasters of War series, or even the Sistine Chapel, all explicitly political or religious propaganda, yet we don't question their artistic legitimacy today. Emma as friend, Jordan. But those examples feel different somehow. They emerged from artists' genuine responses to their historical moments, not from institutional pressure to be politically relevant. Emma as art history, Sam. I understand that intuition, but it might be romanticizing past artistic creation. Renaissance artists worked under enormous institutional pressure from the church and wealthy patrons. The idea of the purely autonomous artist is largely a modern invention. Emma as art critic, Alex. Which brings us back to the exhibition's central thesis, that our notions of artistic value and cultural significance are themselves constructed and contingent, not eternal or objective. Emma as friend, Jordan. I suppose my resistance isn't really to political art per se, but to art that feels didactic rather than exploratory. The best political art, it seems to me, raises questions rather than providing answers. This cultural discussion demonstrates sophisticated analytical conversation. Cultural knowledge application, references to specific artworks, historical periods, and artistic movements show how educated speakers draw on shared cultural literacy. Nuanced opinion expression. Rather than simple agreement or disagreement, speakers refined and qualified their positions throughout the conversation. Abstract concept manipulation, discussion of authenticity, artistic legitimacy, and cultural authority requires sophisticated conceptual thinking. Key cultural conversation vocabulary. Retrospective, an exhibition showing an artist's work over time. Polarized reactions, strongly divided opinions. Juxtapose, to place side by side for comparison or contrast. Artistic canonization, the process by which art becomes accepted as important. Cultural authority, the power to determine what's culturally valuable. Curatorial ambition, the curator's bold vision for organizing an exhibition. Inherently political, naturally or essentially involving politics. Ideological positions, specific sets of political or social beliefs. Manipulative, trying to influence people in a deceptive way. Commissioned, formally requested and paid for. Artistic legitimacy, recognition as valid or worthy art. Autonomous artist, an artist working independently without external influence. Contingent, dependent on circumstances, not absolute. Didactic, intended to teach or instruct, often in a preachy way.
Let's check your understanding of this cultural discussion. Question 1. What is Jordan's main criticism of the contemporary pieces in the exhibition? Jordan feels they were included primarily to make political statements rather than because they genuinely belonged in dialogue with classical works. Question 2. How does Sam challenge the idea of authentic versus political art? Sam argues that most great art throughout history was commissioned or created with explicit political purposes, and that the idea of a purely autonomous artist is largely a modern invention. Question 3. What distinction does Jordan make about good political art? Jordan suggests the best political art raises questions rather than providing answers, and feels exploratory rather than didactic. Now let's listen to a discussion about social media's impact on human relationships, a conversation that requires understanding contemporary social issues and psychological insights. Emma, as sociologist, Dr. Kim, what troubles me most about our current digital communication landscape isn't necessarily the technology itself, but how it's reshaping fundamental human social behaviors. We're witnessing unprecedented changes in intimacy patterns, attention scans, and even empathy development. Emma, as tech worker, Maya. I work in tech, so I'm probably biased, but I think we're experiencing moral panic, similar to what happened with television, comic books, or even the printing press. Every transformative communication technology generates anxiety about its social implications. Emma, as journalist, Chris. But Maya, the scale and penetration of social media seems qualitatively different from previous media revolutions. We're not just consuming different content, we're fundamentally altering how we form and maintain relationships. Emma, as sociologist, Dr. Kim. Precisely, Chris. My research shows that young adults today report feeling lonelier despite having more connections than any previous generation. There's something paradoxical about technologies designed to bring us together actually increasing social isolation. Emma,